Take a look at all of these people from all over El Paso. They've come to this baseball diamond just about 500 feet away from the Walmart where the shooting took place. They're gathering here to sing songs and to pray and to stay El Paso strong. People from all over El Paso packed into a small park for a candlelight vigil. It's just about 500 feet away from the Walmart where 20 people were murdered. Family members say 25-year-old Jordan Enchando was killed while shielding her 2-month-old son from gunfire. The Associated Press reports the mother of 3 was buying school supplies, something many of the victims of Saturday's shooting were likely doing at this Walmart. Family members of survivors wait outside hospitals to see if their loved ones will recover.
She's in stable condition. My dad is still fighting for his life.
Investigators say the suspect, 21-year-old Patrick Crucius, is being cooperative. 3 properties in the Dallas area where Crucius was from have been searched.
The state charge is capital murder, and so he is eligible for the death penalty. We will seek the death penalty.
Federal investigators are looking at a 4-page manifesto where the shooter allegedly wrote his motivation was to kill as many Mexicans as possible.
We're treating it as a domestic terrorism case.
Federal prosecutors are looking at the strong possibility that firearms and hate crimes charges could be added. Those federal charges could also come with the death penalty. All the people on this baseball diamond are also sending their prayers to the people up in Dayton, Ohio, who are going through the same situation. Reporting in El Paso, I'm Joe Galli. People have come from thousands of miles to come here and grieve and pray. Look at this crowd behind me. It has been like this all day. People just rotating, coming by, dropping off flowers, posters with prayers, crosses built for each one of the victims that died. Everyone wanting to make sure that they are staying El Paso strong.
R&D.
Tony Basco says his common-law wife of 22 years, Margie Record, was a sweet, loving woman. The 67-year-old was killed while shopping at Walmart.
I never had nothing like this. My wife, I know she's looking down. Yeah, she's smiling.
But we're here for you here.
Greg Zanis has been making these crosses for every mass shooting since Columbine.
I'm making them help remember their loved ones, but in more than that, I made it a family here.
He won't be here long. He's off to Dayton next.
I'm not leaving here. I'm leaving to go to another one.
Emotional support dogs from Crisis Response Canine are on the scene to help people deal with the trauma.
Sometimes it just gives people the opportunity to decompress and maybe just think about something else for 1 minute.
Thanks for giving people love. It's what everybody needs right now. Oh.
Former Congressman and Democratic presidential candidate Beto O'Rourke visited the area today to show support for victims and campaign for stricter gun policies.
You listen to those who have survived these kind of mass terror attacks, and they'll tell you if we end the sale of assault weapons, weapons of war that were designed to kill people as effectively, as efficiently, in as great a number as possible, we will save more lives.
Now, those crosses are going to remain in place here at the scene for 40 days. People are encouraged to write prayers and messages on them. They'll then be given to the families. Back to you guys. Well, as the sun sets and the air cools, more and more people came out to this memorial. I'll step out of the way to give you a live look at what we're seeing now. This memorial has grown exponentially in just a few hours or so. You can see there's more folks dropping off candles, flowers, and signs. Everything and everyone coming together to stay El Paso strong.
We have added a few.
People in El Paso have really stepped up to help, offering free funeral services, blood donations, and much more. City officials have issued a local disaster declaration, which activates all state recovery efforts. Police have confirmed 7 of the 22 killed were from Mexico. More than a dozen victims are still in the hospital, 2 in critical condition. 1 victim is an infant.
2 of the 27 injured, 1 was an infant with broken bones, and another sustained injuries trying to escape the scene.
At a press conference this evening, the mayor focused on fighting hate and white supremacy.
I don't know how we deal with evil. I don't have a textbook for dealing with evil other than the Bible.
Just keep them lined up.
Here at the memorial site, thousands of people gathered throughout the day, many choosing to pray for the end of senseless, hate-filled violence. President Donald Trump is scheduled to come to El Paso on Wednesday. Reporting live in El Paso, Joe Galli, News 4 San Antonio. Randy, I had an opportunity to talk with plenty of folks who were inside that Walmart during the mass shooting. Each and every one of them has an equally horrifying story to tell, but they also told me one other thing. Each of them feels lucky that they made it out alive.
Like, people were yelling and saying he's shooting, there's a shooter, and the little kids were running inside, and people were running inside just screaming.
Kiana Long and her husband were shopping for groceries when shots rang out inside Walmart.
They told us to leave the building and go into the containers in the back and hide in there just in case the gunman came outside, that he wouldn't know we were back there.
They managed to escape when police arrived, but she says the carnage inside the store is indescribable. Today, survivors of the shooting have been coming to the convention center downtown to get information on how to get psychological help from various organizations. They're also trying to figure out when they'll be able to get their cars out of the parking lot. Daniel Flores is a loss prevention associate for Walmart.
I opened the door, and that's when I saw the shooter.
But the shooter didn't see him. He was able to hide and call 911. After the shooter left, he went into action.
One of the associates was hit in the hand. So I took out my shirt, I wrapped my shirt around his hand. And
unfortunately, there are some people who are trying to take advantage of this horrible situation. The El Paso Police Department is warning a group of people who are trying to work a scam where they're posing as funeral home directors and trying to get families of victims to pay for phony funeral expenses. Reporting live in El Paso, Joe Galli, News 4 San Antonio. Randy, we've been at this memorial night after night, and it continues to grow. You can really feel the love from the people here in El Paso. I want to give you a live look so you can see just how many folks have shown up. We've got hundreds of people that are here, shoulder to shoulder, saying prayers, playing music, and all giving their remorse for all these folks that passed away in that mass shooting.
He had the chance to kill me, but he didn't. You know, because God's with me, and who could go against me?
Octavio Lizarde and his doctors are optimistic he'll be able to walk again after being shot in the foot during the mass shooting inside Walmart, but nothing is going to bring back his 15-year-old nephew, Javier Rodriguez, who was killed.
I did lose my nephew right in front of me. It was a horrible image, and I hope nobody ever goes through it. It's very painful.
Folks who made it out unharmed are being allowed into the parking lot to get their cars. Many are still in shock over the brutality they witnessed.
This is one of the kindest cities in the country, and you're just gonna come and shoot them up.
Mural artist Gabe Reel has been working non-stop on this large piece of art, which he hopes inspires strength and unity.
I don't know why a person would come and do that. I don't want to know why. All I care about is that it happened. And, you know, there are people just like myself who live in the city trying to do what we do.
President Donald Trump is scheduled to come to El Paso tomorrow after stopping in Dayton. We're still waiting to get an exact itinerary of where he's going to be going here, but protests are expected. Reporting live in El Paso, I'm Joe Galli. Back to you.
Our Joe Galli joins us from El Paso outside the hospital. I understand the president is meeting with victims inside, and you're in the middle there of a protest.
Randy, I have to tell you right now, tensions are red hot outside this hospital as protesters and Trump supporters have begun to clash here onto the street. I'll give you a look inside what we're seeing right here, where we have some Trump supporters. You could see one wearing the pink hat and holding a pink sign. She's been supporting Trump and also speaking in Spanish, so a lot of people feel that she is a traitor to the cause. For a lot of Latinos here who are very passionate that they believe that President Trump had some responsibility in the mass shooting based on rhetoric against Latinos. So you could see things are getting pretty heated right here, and I'm going to go ahead and apologize ahead of time if you happen to see any images with foul language or hear any foul language, because people are very, very passionate right now about what's happening. And as I mentioned, Donald Trump is in a hospital just over to the left, visiting with victims and their families. Not sure how long he's going to be in there. He's been in there for probably about a half hour or so, but you could see the enormous amount of support from the El Paso Police Department, all wearing riot gear, all ready if the worst should happen out here to provide protection not only for themselves but for all the protesters and folks that came out here and want to have their voices heard. There was a very large protest that started about 12:30 this afternoon at a park just about 2 blocks from here. I'd have to estimate that around 3,000 to 4,000 people were at that protest. As soon as that protest ended, they came out to the street. They knew that Donald Trump would be coming to this hospital since so many victims were actually taken here. But you can see there are folks here with Make America Great Again hats, and they're getting up and getting into confrontations with people. So far, things look like they're being okay. Things are remaining civil. Nobody's throwing punches or anything like that. But as I mentioned before, a little bit of foul language being spread between these different groups here with different ideologies and different political ends of the spectrum. So we're going to be out here in front of these folks with these protesters throughout the day. As I mentioned, President Donald Trump, he is with victims' families right now. When he was in Dayton, he was with them for about an hour and a half. If he sticks to that same timetable, he'll be in there for at least another half hour. So we'll keep you abreast with the latest updates. Reporting live in El Paso, Joe Galli, News 4, San Antonio. A protest with people on both sides of the political spectrum had every opportunity to turn violent this evening, but it didn't. Cooler heads prevailed, and these people stayed El Paso strong. Tensions were red hot as people's passions took them to the brink just outside this hospital where President Donald Trump was visiting with victims of Saturday's mass shooting, which killed 22. Riot police were at the ready, but in the end, there was no violence.
We thank you for what you've done, and we appreciate you continuing. God bless our El Paso Police Department.
Only an exchange of words and ideas between people who believe the president's rhetoric towards Latinos was an inspiration for the massacre and those who stand by the president.
I don't like Beto O'Rourke, but I'm willing to listen to him. If he's providing solutions, I will listen to him. Just like Donald Trump. If he's providing solutions, I'm willing to listen to him.
Well, I can't wait for Daddy Trump or Daddy Beto to come along and play good. Trump's not going to come and sit with me. Donald, no. We got to talk. We got to lead.
It starts with the people on the ground level.
We can't just follow. We got to lead. We got to do something. But everybody, including you, including me, including Jonathan.
A community in mourning with emotions worn thin, still managing to keep their composure after going through so much. People from El Paso, even in their most trying time, they are better than the violence that was brought to their doorstep. At the end of the day, everyone who was in those streets this evening had 2 goals in mind: to stop mass shootings and to stop hate. Reporting in El Paso, I'm Joe Galli.